Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is March 5th, 2026. Okay, it was a little bit hard to find some actual alpha style news today on Twitter. Maybe it's just quiet times. There's a lot of gloom and doom. But anyways, I do have quite a few tweets for you today, so I will go through them. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is all just my own personal biased opinions based on the news that I see. So let's take a quick look at the charts. As you can see, ETH retraced a little bit yesterday. BTC as well, but not quite as much. There is a little bit of retracement, so nothing. It's normal, I think. Like it's going to come down again and go up. Hopefully, it just keeps moving up and down, like the trend goes up. I'm hoping. So anyways, we'll see what happens. I think it'll make everybody a lot more happy, a lot more less gloomy and stuff like that. But crypto's not what it used to be. It's not such the shiny, beautiful thing it was in 2020, 2021. It's a little bit, and I don't want to say stale, because I still believe in it completely. There's so many reasons to, and obviously, traditional finance is kind of believing in it as well. So yeah, we just got to be patient. So there's the chart. Gold itself is quite a bit down, right back in the middle of my range. I'm getting some pretty good volume on this gold pair, so I'm happy with that. But who knows what's going to happen in the future. Things are pretty uncertain, that's for sure. Okay, but at least we didn't get enormous red candles recently, especially with the war in Iran. I was expecting, when that dropped, I was expecting everything to the floor to just fall out on everything, but it seems to be holding up pretty well. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about macro and all that stuff, but let's get into things. So as always, I'm going to start talking about, I'm going to start going through this guy here, and I'm going to kind of read it out for the most part. I don't want to read everything because, some of it's kind of, I don't know. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so it says the sharpest story today is USD1, which shed $84 million over the past week and then reversed completely, printing 600K in net issuance in a single day. So yeah, so it lost it all, and then it all just came back, plus an extra 600K. A coin rated B with a liquidity score of 74 swinging from 85 million drain to fresh minting inside 24 hours is not a routine oscillation. So yeah, it is a centralized stablecoin, so I think it's just a matter of convincing some high net worth individual to hold it. I think it's a pretty easy justification or easy explanation of why something would swing like that. Someone wanted to leave, they wanted to get their money back, they wanted to go do something, some huge giant whale, and then another whale was convinced to join. It's kind of that simple, in my opinion. It is a direct, let's get. So meanwhile, USDS, so Sky Ecosystem, added 270 million yesterday, which is pretty good. Meaning one coin is quietly compressing its weekly run. Let's go. USDC, for its part, grew 1.6 billion this week, which is quite substantial, of course. There a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people realizing that USDC is going to be the coin of global payments. There's definitely a lot of better stable coins for individuals, but I think for international commerce and trade between countries, it's starting to look a lot like USDC is going to be the one. Tether's still bigger, but I just think USDC has really aligned themselves well with the United States, and United States is a bully, and they're going to push their dollar onto everybody, and I think they feel safer having USDC as the dominant payment structure. But anyways, that's pure speculation. I have no news. I have no insight into that. Just complete speculation. So let's talk a little bit about more. So CAG, so the silver coin, recovered from a depeg again, so another depeg. It's the third such recovery in recent sessions. A coin apparently committed to stress testing its own peg reflects on a schedule. LUSD remains off peg, so LUSD is Liquidity's old stablecoin. They have Bold now, so you can kind of expect this one to start to decrease in utility, because I believe Bold is a superior product. It's just LUSD is a little bit less exposed. Like LUSD is only backed by ETH. That's it, and it's fixed, right? Like it doesn't have that redemption mechanism that Bold has, where you set your interest rates and the person with the lowest interest rate gets redeemed first. It doesn't have that old mechanism. I have videos on both of them if you want to compare them, but I kind of see this as like it's unstoppable. So it's not like the team can just be like, yeah, we're shutting it down. It's got to kind of shut down by itself from people exiting. That's the only way it's going to shut down. So I don't know what's going to happen and if it will ever shut down, but I thought it interesting. I do believe that it's going to kind of stick in this news for a while, because it's definitely like it has a B safety grade, but like I said, it's kind of, it's not sunsettable because it's immutable and it's unstoppable, but it's like the Bold product is slightly superior, so you can choose your interest rate and stuff. So it's quite, and there's more collaterals. You can use interest-bearing ETH to as collateral. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. It might just remain. It might remain forever, and that'd be cool and awesome. But anyways, so this is Pharos. I haven't done my video yet on it, but it will come soon. So I just the creator of this token, Bryce, has told me that he's going to add some new features soon. So I'm kind of waiting for those to kind of drop, and then I can go through each of these things and kind of give you a taste of what's going on. Yeah, so let's move on. Okay, so here we have Flying Tulip. Newton says Flying Tulip stablecoin FTUSD, currently yielding 6% for holders, rewards and FT tokens bought back from the market. Now, I've disclosed already that I am an investor in this product. I did buy some puts, not insane amounts of money, but enough that I care, right? I think it's a pretty cool product. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm actually going to mint some of these FUSD tokens and try to get in on this. I don't know how much. I got to go through my wallets and see where I've got some stable coins that I can kind of use to create this, to go through this. But I'm going to see how it goes. So you're probably going to hear me talk a little bit more about Flying Tulip over the coming weeks and so forth, especially since I'm going to have to monitor it and watch it and think about it and stuff like that. So yeah, you can check it out. I got videos on all of these, on how this thing works, or generally, not exact specifics, because the documentation that I used to talk about this product suite it wasn't incomplete when I made it. But anyways, let's move on. So here we have Sherlock. Sherlock is a product, I've used it in the past. I've worked with these guys on protocols that I launched. They're auditing firm, and they're quite good. They're very good. So that they've got a bug bounty set up for Aave. So Aave has decided to add Sherlock bug bounty, which is awesome. As always, coverage structure tri-edge, clear escalation from high severity reports as V4 ships and scales. Aave's commitment to security stays constant. So yeah, it's awesome. So they're using V4s around the corner. So there's all that bad news about the DAO getting destroyed, but then there's V4s coming. So it's not like they destroyed the DAO and there's nothing happening. So there's good and bad to kind of balance things out. And yeah, you do you. I'm going to continue to monitor this situation. I've considered pulling liquidity from Aave, but I'm not in V4, so I don't mind lending on V3, and I just gotta check out those those collaterals, because the collaterals might get more and more risky as the DAO has left, but we'll see. Okay, so ETH Raider here, I seen him tweet this out maybe 2 or 3 times since yesterday, which is quite interesting. So people from Solana are saying that X money, so Twitter's X dollar, or some stablecoin or something like that for Twitter, is going to launch on Solana, and he's been replying to these people, doing his hard work, chasing down misinformation, and he's like the Solana marketing machine just can't help itself. And he's quoting, it's clear that like Cross River Bank, who's going to be issuing the X dollar, has Ethereum integration. Cross River supports transactions, specifically US-based stablecoin settlement USDC, directly on the Ethereum blockchain. So I don't know, like I don't know if they're like blatantly lying, or if they're just, someone said something and they're just retweeting and like sharing. I don't know. Like, they've got no proof. It's just 2 pictures and they're just chilling. So I don't know if that's intentional misinformation, or if it's like just lack of due diligence, or if it's even true. I don't even know, right? So anyhow, well, like I historically speaking, I can definitely say I'm going to lean towards the idea that X is going to use Ethereum, but Solana is still fast, and Solana has gotten, they literally paid people to put their product on Solana, and they were successful in getting those things deployed. So it's not impossible, right? But let's move on. Okay, so ETH Gas and Protocol FX. This is a little, I had to dig a little bit deeper in here, and you can kind of go to here is the article, and you can kind of read through this. It doesn't go really in depth, but the idea here is that like Protocol FX is joining this ETH Gas. Is called ETH Gas Official. I talked about this a little while ago. It's like an airdrop that rebates you your gas spending. But I guess Protocol FX is now joining it. So if you are using the FX USD if you end up having to pay gas to interact with FX USD, then you're going to get like GUI airdrops basically. So you get your gas refund in these GUI tokens. So you dig a little bit deeper and find out like the article doesn't explicitly show exactly what how it works, but as you can see, there's quite a few protocols kind of jumping in here and joining this initiative, and so I guess there might be some people who can't see, so I'll read it out, some names that I see. So here's Eigencloud, Pendle, Velvet Capital, and then FX Protocol. So that's great to see, teams reaching out together, coordinating, and making user experience better. Okay, moving on. Here we have Red Phone. He's tweeted out 5 points here, random thoughts about AI. As usual, I don't want to summarize everything he says. I think it's worth reading, so I'm going to read it out loud. And bear with me, guys. It'll take a few minutes, okay? So number 1, many of my Telegram chats are turning into ghost towns outside the AI focus groups. Anyways, a big reason for it. LLMs are giving people the ability to think in private. We can bounce ideas off machines instead of off other human minds. So this is interesting because not only does it is it faster because the AI is waiting to reply to you, whereas you throw it in a Telegram and those Telegrams they might be AFK, right? And then you also get people who are not really equipped to answer you, right? And then also you don't share your alpha. If you find an alpha, if you find some sort of opportunity, that doesn't get shared with a whole bunch of people. So he's got a really good point there. Number 2, LLMs help us learn faster, but it also means we no longer have the risk of looking stupid in public. If we don't know something, we don't need to ask others. We can ask the LLM. Not sure how this doesn't push people into deeper I don't even know how to say his word. Social isolation. What is this? Solipsism. I've never heard this word, but fantastic new word. Thanks, Fred. I'm pretty sure it's why chat velocity has slowed down too. So you no longer look stupid. You like, people really care a lot about looking stupid. I've always been very good about this. If I don't know, I just don't know, and I don't care. Like, I'm willing to say, yeah, I didn't know, or I made a mistake, or yeah, that bad on me. But like, a lot of people, that's their product. Oh, I am a genius. I know everything. Follow me, and then I will get sponsors or whatever, paid posts and stuff like that. So a lot of people have that facade, and they want to maintain it, right? Number 3, I keep seeing people bulled up in IRL businesses. I don't know what bulled up means. The thesis is we'll work less and leave behind our devices for parties, art shows, concerts, and social clubs. I oscillate between believing that and thinking AI is going to so perfectly tweak their attention algos that we literally can't look away from our screens. We might be plugged in 24/7. I agree with him. Like, it's getting harder and harder for me to like keep my kids off the phones, and they're not even like completely using AI yet. Like, my son's pretty good at using Gemini on his phone and helping himself with homework, but I'm trying my best to encourage, especially him because he's in high school, to use AI as a teacher as opposed to an answerer. So like, instead of saying like, what is the answer to this question, say, how do I solve this question? Show me all the steps, and then AI will show him all the steps, and he can read through and learn the steps. So I'm hoping that that's going to continue, and he's going to keep doing it that way. Let's moving, but will we put our phones away? I'm getting pretty good at this as well. I leave my phone a lot at home when I go to pick up the kids, or when I go out and stuff, unless I think I'm going to spend money, because I tend to use my phone to sometimes. But bringing your credit card instead of your phone out is pretty good. Now, I don't have any kind of social life, like all those things he listed. I don't really go to it. Parties, concerts, social clubs, art shows. I don't do any of that stuff. So anyhow, let's moving on. Drunken Miller interviews made the rounds recently. I don't know who this guy is. My favorite part, contrarianism is overrated. Often the easiest trade is the most obvious. The ones with 80% are in. Investors are obsessed with second and third order effects, and we tend to overthink our way of great trades. Be dumber and richer. So he's kind of like saying, like I missed the meme coins. I didn't play them because I was too smart for them, like, for lack of a better word. I felt like, yeah, these are bullshit, but some people made tons of money off them because they just like, yeah, people are going to play because people are stupid, and so everyone's playing it, so let's just play it, right? And I probably should have, but I couldn't do it because it was just, I felt immoral. But that's what he's saying, is like, just bite the bullet and join the herd, and you'll probably do better than if you try to isolate yourself from what's popular and what's trending. Altcoin trading energy feels like it's migrated into entrepreneurialism. People who would have been in the trenches trading are now talking to OpenClaw agents and building rev-generating apps. As much as I hate seeing altcoins languish, the change makes me bullish humanity. Coins are a vehicle for collaboration and value share. They are not the product themselves. Another way of looking at it, human energy and attention is recalibrating. The next altcoin run will be backed by revenue, and it will be glorious. So yeah, just choose your coins carefully. I'm hoping he's right on that. I've got a few bets out there that I'm betting on because I know that these products will generate revenue, and some of them are already generating me revenue dividends. So I'm very happy with those. And so you can check this out. Check out Redphone. give him a follow. He always does these kind of posts that are thoughtful and insightful. So I enjoy reading his posts. Yeah, moving on. So I did a tweet yesterday. So I said, so this is happening now. If you get FX USD from Frax Finance in your EtherFi account. So if you set up an EtherFi account and you get a credit card and you can spend money inside that credit card, right? Now, if you just hold FX USD inside that account, then you're going to get drip fed like the revenue that they're generating. Now, I do have a long tweet here where like Sam Kazim from Frax, he explains where it comes from, and that it's not really like a rebase. It's not a rebasing coin because it's still just a simple token. It's not a complex smart contract, right? It's just they have these like they're gaining yield from various sources like T-bills and stuff like this, and they're basically just sharing that with people who hold FXUSD inside their Ethernet vault, which is fantastic. So now instead of holding USDC, you can hold Frax USD, and you're going to get yield inside your wallet. Now there are some possibilities as well, like the EtherFi account does have liquid USD, which is, I think it's a little bit higher right now but that's exposing you to smart contract risk, collaterals. It is farming, it's a vault token that is, sending your USDC out to different farms, and it might end up exposing you to strange collateral. Whereas this FXUSD, it's just simple FXUSD, and they're just streaming you like risk-free interest rate from TradFi, T-bills and stuff like that. So I think it's a very good option, especially if you're using EtherFi. It does decrease the risk quite a bit, in my opinion. So you can check this out, and you get an email every day telling you your interest rate. So I had a tiny amount in mind just to test it out, and then I started seeing these emails. So then I did this tweet. So check it out. I think it's worth it. So here's a crazy one. Okay, so I don't want to let's look through what it says here. So dude's retweeting this picture. His name's Lit Capital. I'm sorry, dude, I can't read your name. So Chathman, insane rich man, right? He's let's read through it. So he's like, how about all the scams that went through SAPs and you never came clean about? Millions in customers lost money. And Chathman's like, bullshit. And he's like, it's not bullshit. I invested in all of them. Your pitches were compelling. Then I lost tons, and you made tons. Why? And then he's like, you generated capital losses. Did you use those? Respectfully, what kind of effing answer is that? It's like beating the crap out of someone, only to ask how you liking those health insurance. Yeah, so Chathman apparently, said hey, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this. Everyone lost their money, and but he somehow managed to make money off of it. So this is kind of he's insanely rich. He's obviously intelligent. And in order to become insanely rich, it's very hard to become insanely rich and be a moral, honest person. There might be a few people out there who are pure altruistic, successful, smart, and doing things that are good for everybody and honest about it. There are people out there like that, but the vast majority of these super insane rich people, they get super insane rich by taking other people's money. So if somebody like this is everyone kind of thinks oh, he's rich, so if I follow him, I will be rich. But it doesn't work like that. He's rich because a lot of people follow him, and he takes their money. So it's the same. It's no different than Ansem, tweeting out, buying some pump coin, tweeting out the contract address, and then selling the pump. It's very now it's a little more sophisticated what Chathman's doing, but I don't think Chathmath is very different than what he's obviously going to use his insider position to make sure he doesn't lose the money. He's not going to be like, he's not playing fair, if so to speak. And people who follow and just kind of like, oh, he said this, so I'm going to do it. I'm not saying this guy here, dude, deserves to be, lose all his money because he took investment advice from Chathman. I'm not saying that, but it kind of works that way, right? So think about who you're following. Think about who is giving you advice. And then even me, like when I'm saying stuff, I'm super biased, right? Like I talked today about Flying Tulip. I have bags. Of course I want you to use it. I want my FT tokens to be bought back, and I want them to be shared, right? So yeah, check it out, okay, dude? Think about that. Moving on. So there's this video here. If you're a listener and you're not watching, I'm sorry. You won't be able to see it. I'll try to describe it. But basically, it's just like there's an app. They've built some app, and he takes his phone and he puts his phone near another phone that has that app, and it just pops up like this $1 thing, and he can just swipe the $1, and it just goes into that phone. And then he moves to another phone, and it just like connects to that phone, and then you can swipe into that. So I think it's pretty cool. It's like handing over cash to someone's phone, but I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure if it's running on Bluetooth, or if you gotta both have Bluetooth, or what is the actual connection mechanism, right? Because there's obviously it has to be a connection so it knows the other phone that is within its vicinity, and he holds them pretty close. They're within like a foot of each other. Anyhow, so that's pretty cool. Moving on. So Zach ETH. So Zach ETH, not the guy who, yeah. So ZACXBT. So it's not Zach as the guy who does the research stuff. So anyways, he's like, we are so back, and then brackets. We are not back. We might be back. Nobody knows. Buy anyways. Not financial advice. And this is kind of how I feel like the market is right now. This is definitely how I feel. I have no idea what's going to happen. Are we going down further? Are we going to go up? Are we going to crab along? The only thing you can do is make sure you have positions for all directions. This is the only way you can be safe. So hopefully you have stable coins in case we go down, and you can then pay your bills, right? Because you don't want to sell if it goes down. Hopefully you have spot or leveraged positions in case we go up. And hopefully you have concentrated or sell orders in case we go up, and you can take some profits, because who knows how high we're going to go. Last time we went to 4K, and that's it. We might go back to 4K and then come back down again. It might just be a weird stablecoin system of volatility for ETH or whatever asset you're holding. So anyways, yeah, I thought I'd share that and think about that. So Peck Shield tweeted out some guy, is like silly tuna related address has been drained for $24 million in an address poisoning attack. Now, I find it's like, how can this stuff still be happening? Like address poisoning is like, basically, people send if you don't know, this is how I understand it. I could be wrong, but this is the way I understand it. So people send a test transaction, and then they go to Etherscan and be like, yeah, it worked. And then they copy that address from Etherscan and then send the rest. But someone sees that happen, and they send a small transaction that mimics what happened, what the other person did, and they end up sending their own address into there. And it's so easy to avoid. Like, how did you get that address in the first place? That's your source. Don't use Etherscan as your source of where to send money. So if you're sending money to your centralized exchange, or into your EtherFi vault, or to your friend, or whoever it is, wherever you got that address, that's your source. Don't go to Etherscan to get the address again. Like, because sometimes you have to paste. You gotta get the contract address to load the token in your wallet, and then you're like, oh well, fuck, I gotta go back and get my address, and so sometimes it's a pain. But go to the source. Go to the place where you originally got that test transaction wallet address, and use that. Always use that. Never use Etherscan to get your destination address, and then this problem will be completely gone. There might be. Now, someone does say here it's not address poisoning. Oh, Silly Tuna replied and said it's not address. So yeah, but my point still stands. Whether it was address poisoning or not, my point still stands. But I guess Silly Tuna is saying PeckShield is wrong, right? So maybe it is. Maybe I guess they must be wrong, right? But anyways, I guess they got exploited somehow. But this does not explain how it happens. So yeah, let's move on. DeFi Prime. So there's a complete guide to vaults in 2026, and it's an article. You have to open the article to read it, and there's quite a bit in here. So it's a decent consideration of your time. Of course, you can use AI to read it for you and summarize it, but it is a long article with all kinds of considerations about vaults. It's a pretty good read. Yeah, I would definitely consider reading it. Like, vaults are fantastic ways to give the work to someone else. And of course, they make money for doing it. Like, they have performance fees, right? So you can do it yourself, and you're going to make more money. However, you're not quite as agile, and you don't get socialized gas cost, and you don't have the reactive ability of a vault. Like, for example, there's been a few tweets by Yearn recently that allowed them to quickly, send capital. Like someone pulled a bunch of capital from a market, and they wanted to move it to SUSD because they weren't getting as much on the Morpho market. So that jacked interest rates, and Yearn quickly swooped in and gobbled up that interest rate for a while. And then now it's gone down, so they've kind of migrated a bit more somewhere else. So like, Yearn is a fantastic place, or a lot of these vaults have these kind of benefits of, allowing you to deposit and allowing them to move your assets around. And then also they're auto compounding. So in most places that would be considered a tax benefit, because then you're not sending transactions yourself, selling reward tokens. Just let them sell them for you. But there are a few cases where you miss out on rewards because they are a contract, and sometimes contracts are excluded from certain rewards. So yeah, so you do a little bit of due diligence, but yeah, there's that. So consider it, think it, read this article if you want. Moving on. So DeFi Llama, 0x not going to make it, has proposed something interesting, and I like it. I'm going to read through this little post here. It's only about 50 words, so bear with me. So DeFi Llama's 0x not going to make it proposed that lending protocols like Aave or Compound raise the borrower's interest rates based on their loan-to-value ratios. So riskier loans at 80% LTV cost more than safe ones at 50% LTV. Now, I assume you know what LTV means, but it's basically like someone at 50% LTV is like, I have $1,000 worth of collateral and I borrow $500, 50%. So if I were to borrow $800, I'm slightly more risky. I'm more likely to get liquidated. And he's saying that perhaps we should consider the idea that the person who's taking the more risk should pay more interest. Okay. Major protocols stick to uniform pool rates driven by supply and demand to keep debt fungible and gas costs low, though MakerDAO offers tiered vaults with manual switches. Projects like Morpho, Blue, Lotus, and upcoming ones with treasure exposure approximations, sparking talk of balancing fair yields with efficient lending. TVL hits 100 billion. So a lot of that stuff in the end is kind of like, well, blah, 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 like food salad. But the idea, I think, is quite clear. Now, why would you do that? Because it's a strange one, because like the person who is borrowing $800 is already paying more interest because he's borrowed more. So he's putting more money into the system. So what he's proposing is now incentivizing people to borrow less, which we don't really want to do, right? However, having to liquidate people is bad for the market in general, because then the person who borrowed $800 gets liquidated, and now the person who borrowed $500 is much more likely to get liquidated. So it kind of creates these, like the riskier people are creating cascading events, and they should have to pay a little bit extra for it. But then should the money go to the people who are taking riskier? Well, I guess they get a discount on the interest rate. But anyways, I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I'm gonna hold on to this for a little bit and think about this a little bit more. Moving on, so ETH strategy. So they said ETH strategy wants open finance. Do you? It's very simple. I think it's like, I think yes. Like I this is why I'm here. This is why I talk about crypto every day, is because I think it's, I got sick of like of seeing the traditional system just exploit everybody and just milk everybody. The banks get rich, the plebs get like scalped, and nobody, the plebs don't know, and crypto kind of fixes it. It levels the playing ground somewhat for people. There's still a lot of grift, there's still a lot of insider trading, there's still a lot of privilege and in this kind of stuff, even in crypto. But at least anyone can open an Aave loan. You don't need to talk to anybody. There's no KYC, there's no like set up this. You can just do it. And I think that's like, we want that for everyone everywhere, and it'll take away some of that isolating centralized power. I got a few more tweets for you. So Pandora has this weird question. Okay, so somebody made a question on Pandora. I don't know who it is, and that's one of the things about Pandora is anyone can make any question they want and seed it with liquidity they want. It doesn't matter, right? So President Trump here is talking about Iran, right? And then someone made a question. I can't read this guy's name. I'm sorry. It's Majotoba Kalamelisini. I don't know. Sworn in as supreme leader of Iran and killed by a foreign military both before April 1st, 2026. So it's a question, like it's a political question. Will this guy get added to become the leader of Iran, and then will some other country go in and kill him and make this question? It's a little bit an iffy one, because like we don't, I don't think it's a great thing to be betting on like the murder of like some guy. Like this has $300 in TVL, so it's not like the one I talked about yesterday with Polymarket, where there was millions of dollars for a nuclear bomb, right? But here it's like, this is kind of like, this one's a little bit iffy, because like, will he be sworn in, and then will he be killed? And like, people can bet on it, yes or no. I think it's kind of a strange one, but it's 30 days. The thing that makes Pandora special is anyone can create this a question, and it's permissionless. So there's going to be some questions on Pandora, I suspect, that are quite sketchy and morally questionable. Now, I think it's definitely going to happen. But it's fantastic that you don't need to reach out to the team to make a question. You just go there and make a question. So like, if you wanted to make a question, a simple thing between you and your buddies, you can just do it, right? You don't need to like, hey, make me a question and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to spend all that time, okay? So anyways, check it out. Okay, Arbitrum's recent dynamic gas prices update is extremely impressive. So Ryan Berkman's, nobody does execution better than Arbitrum. Robin knows it. So you can read through this picture, this post. Arbitrum posts it, and basically what they've done is somehow they've created it so when there's a gas spike on the chain, then they keep that gas spike down. I don't know how they're doing it. I haven't been able to look at the tech, but like there's some key points here. So they're like, dynamic pricing reduces fee spikes by 98%. So Arbitrum handles 2x better demand with 15% lower fees, 17x less fee volatility. So the whole point of our L2s is for like high frequency, low cost transactions. So in the event that something does happen where, there's like, I don't know, cascading events or a NFT mint or whatever that happens to be, where there's a huge amount of demand, you don't want the gas to spike like crazy, because then everybody has to pay more than they should be paying if they were to spread those transactions out across time. Now, most blockchains, most L2s want this, because that's where they're getting it's like their Christmas sales. It's like the store that makes no money all year, but at Christmas time makes tons of money and is able to survive the whole year because they milk it in the Christmas season. And that's the way most L2s work. But Arbitrum is like flipping this, and they're like saying like, no. We're going to just try to make the user experience consistent and not milk those Christmas seasons. And I think that's notable, and that's definitely noble and worth sharing. Okay, I got 2 more tweets for you. Okay, so Bancor has a protocol picture here. If you don't know how this thing works, just check it out, man. It's so good. Like you can have a range order. So like basically, let me read what it says. Start buying at $1, buy down to 50 cents. So you put some stable coins at $1 down to 50 cents, and anytime the price goes down through there, you're buying. Start selling at $2 and sell up to $2.50. Like it's just so good. And it's the only protocol that does this. It's like limit orders, but with a range. It's just fantastic. Check it out. Come on, guys. Use it. So the last one I'm going to talk about, trending Bitcoin, is a little bit outside of crypto, but it'll bring back crypto to, it's kind of related to crypto because of the idea. So Thomas Jefferson, said, a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you own. So our governments are getting more and more like this, especially in my country. I'm in Canada. The government's huge. It's like 25% of employment is government. That's insane. So 1 in 4 people in my country work for the government. And it's just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Now, this came across my thread or across my feed for you because Badger retweeted it. Now, I haven't seen Badger in years. They're an old OG Bitcoin maximalist protocol. So they were like giving people yield on Bitcoin years and years ago. And now they've kind of woken up for some reason. Maybe they're going to drop something. So he's like, he's like, we saw a glimpse of this. And then he's like they're showing a tweet about 13 years ago, the world realized why it needs Bitcoin. In March 2013, Cyprus seized 47.5% of uninsured deposits in its largest bank overnight. So yeah, this Cyprus country, the government just like decided like, oh, let's just take all this money in people's bank accounts. Let's just clean it out. And like I've seen stuff like this, like in Canada, like people had their bank accounts frozen because they didn't want to take the COVID shot. And then people who sent them BTC because they're like, these people are starving and they're standing up for their rights. Those people also got in trouble, right? So it's like, we don't want to give the government too much power. I'm a big advocate of the government should be as small as possible. There are some things that the government should run, and that's why you pay taxes. But like, you shouldn't, like, there's just too much. There's just way too much. Like, I don't think, I like to say the thing of like, the working as a receptionist or a customer service representative at the DMV should not be a career. It should be a job for anyone who's just kind of in between jobs, or who is like, a student, or, just kind of a part-time job, or retired. Like it should not be like, oh, like when I get out of high school or college, I'm going to go join the DMV and then that's going to be my life. I feel like that's just not right. Like we shouldn't encourage people to stay in these kinds of positions. But anyhow, so that's that. So I hope this has been interesting and useful and fun to listen to, and thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.